It is a Mother's Day mystery. Welcome to Crime 411 with me, Melissa Marquet. Today we are talking about Suzanne Morphew, who went missing from Colorado on Mother's Day, May 10th. 49 years old, married to husband Barry Morphew with two daughters. One is a teenager, I believe the other is 20. And the alleged story is that she went for a bike ride on Mother's Day alone, and that a neighbor reported her missing when she didn't return. Now, Barry, her husband, stated that he was out of town in Denver, which is actually only 2.5 hours away from their home. So we don't know what time he left to go to Denver or what time he returned from Denver. And even though he has an alibi that he was in fact in Denver in that day, he could have been in Denver that day and also been at the home that day, because like I said, it's only 2.5 hours away from where they lived. The daughters were allegedly camping and were not there. We don't know at this time whether it was Barry or one of their daughters who contacted the neighbor when they couldn't reach Suzanne, but the neighbor was contacted by someone in the family, and at that point they did report her missing. We really don't know much about this case right now. We know that her bike was found on Mother's Day, that Sunday, May 10th, leaning against a tree not very far away from where they lived. The brakes were locked, although they didn't tell us why, and that search dogs did not pick up a scent at all. And aside from finding an unidentified personal object on the 15th, really have been no signs of what happened to Suzanne anywhere. So this is definitely something that, of course, everybody is talking about at this point, and everyone is hoping for a safe return. There are a few things about her husband that caught my attention. And one of the things that I've noticed over the years doing this is when you have a situation of a missing person and a family member is involved in their disappearance, say for example, a homicide, they seem to have a commonality when they do interviews or they speak out. When they talk about their loved one, they seem to always say that they want them back. And this is a commonality that I find very interesting. To say you want something back genuinely insinuates that it is gone forever. If you think about things like, I'll talk to my brother and my friends about times that we shared many years ago back in New York, certain places we used to love to go that are no longer in business, and things we used to do that we had so much fun doing, and we'll say, oh, I wish I could just go back one more time, because it's impossible. We know we can't go back. And so that term to me really stands out. You'll notice when family, is involved in pleading for a safe return for their family, and there hasn't been any involvement, they'll typically say, we just want them to be home. We want them to come home safe. We just want them home. But to say, I want them back, seems to, like I said, be a common thing across the board when it comes to people who are involved in a person's disappearance. Now, Barry, her husband, didn't make a public statement at all until about a week later, which was also something that stood out to me. Myself personally, if I had a loved one that was missing, I would be on every media channel that I could possibly be on, pleading for them to come home safely. And what I was told, although I haven't been able to verify this, is that Barry, her husband, was offered the opportunity to do a media interview on the 6th day that she had been missing, and he declined, saying it was too soon. Again, I don't know if that is hearsay or fact, but either way, we do know that he waited almost a week before he made a public statement, and that to me was odd. In his public statement, he also says that he wants her back. Again, that term that I'm talking about. And I'm going to go ahead and show the plea that he put online in just a moment. Some are calling it a heartfelt plea. Myself personally, I'm not seeing the emotion there. I'm not seeing any tears. I am seeing someone who is very stiff and, in my opinion, seems rehearsed. And I'm not getting the same heartfelt feeling that some others have gotten. I am getting more questions than answers after watching his video. So let me go ahead and play that for you.
Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, your girls need you. No questions asked. However much they want, I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you. I want you back so bad.
I want you back so bad. I'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. Again, that statement really stood out to me. And that is a statement that you will generally hear across the board when someone is involved in the disappearance of a loved one. Chris Watts, in his original interview with the media, said he wanted the kids back. He wanted Shanann back. Maggie Boswell, her 15-month-old daughter Evelyn is missing, and she said she just wants her back. Again, the term really stood out to me, and going to go ahead and play those other interviews so that you can see what I mean. In this interview with Megan Boswell, she's talking about her missing 15-month-old daughter, Evelyn. And again, the term, I just want her back. Go ahead and take a look.
And I know all of this is very hard. Can you tell me, like, how you were feeling?
I just want her back. That's all I want.
Are you feeling worried or anything along those lines?
And it's interesting also because a lot of the time, at least in certain situations like with Megan Boswell, when the term is said, I want her back, she gets emotional at that point. Again, probably because she realizes that this is a very final thing and that she is not coming back. So it's not, I want her home safe, it's, I want her back. Same thing that Suzanne's husband, Barry, said, he wants her back. And the same with Chris Watts when he talked about his kids and wife. He said he wanted them back. So that really stood out to me. Let's take a look at Chris Watts' interview. Same thing.
If she's vanished, like, I want her back. I want this kid back so bad.
I want them back so bad. I want her back so bad. Again, it's a very final statement of insinuating that something is gone forever. And the fact that Suzanne's husband said the exact same thing in the video that he put out was very concerning to me at best. There is a $200,000 reward for Suzanne's safe return. Her husband Barry put up $100,000, which was matched by an unnamed friend. There have been over 150 tips called into the tip line, but law enforcement really isn't saying very much about this at all. We have some questions. One of the questions I have is, when was the last time Suzanne was actually physically seen that can be confirmed by someone? The story is she allegedly went for a bike ride on Mother's Day, May 10th, but did the neighbor actually see her leaving and going for a bike ride, or is that just what her husband is telling police? I would like to know when the last time Suzanne was physically seen was, or when she was actually spoken to by someone on the phone that can verify she was alive at a certain point. I know that law enforcement is asking neighbors to save surveillance video from, I believe, May 8th through the 11th or something like that. So that tells me that they're probably having the same questions that I am, and that maybe she already was gone before Mother's Day, and that may actually not be the story of when she was last seen. So there are some questions surrounding that as well. I don't like to point fingers, and it is a known fact that in situations like this, the spouse is typically the first person that somebody's going to look at. But when I watch his video again, I am just not seeing the heartfelt plea that he is allegedly putting out there for the safe return of his wife. I'm just not. And then, of course, there was that gentleman, John Schmitz, who came forward, and he said that he was working on a job site that Barry was also contracted to do landscaping at. And he told me that Barry arrived 2 days early to do the landscaping at this job site, a commercial job site, And when he got there, John's guys, his crew, were in his way. So he started throwing tools around and he got aggressive, and there was a physical altercation between Barry and John. So he's saying he's very concerned because he's seen a side of this man that insinuates that he has an anger problem and that he has a violent side. There was a police report filed, so that incident has been verified. That was in 2000, I believe, 17. But again, you know, a woman goes on a bike, allegedly goes on a bike, doesn't return, dogs don't pick up a scent, she just vanishes. There's a lot of questions here, a lot of questions, and I'm sorry to say, but I am at this point looking at the husband because nothing else seems to make sense. I know he said he was in Denver. His alibi has been verified. Yes, he was in Denver that day. But again, Denver is only 2.5 hours away from where the Morphews lived. So who's to say at what point he was in Denver? What time did he arrive in Denver? What time did he get home from Denver? Where were Barry and Suzanne the day before on Saturday? Who saw them? When was the last time that this lady was actually seen? These are the questions that I have. Anyhow, make sure to follow us on YouTube, subscribe to Crime 411. You can also follow us on our Facebook page. Our website is crime411.org. We are also on Twitter and Instagram. We appreciate you tuning in and trusting us as a source of information, and we will continue to update you on this case. Thank you.